That lady. Got to turn her off. Hey, Carly.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Not bad. How's your day? Or how's your week?
Fine. Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah,
Glad it's a 3-day weekend.
definitely. Yeah. You have any plans?
Not really. Excited to build in a day of doing nothing, which I feel like is hard to get.
Nice, nice. Very cool. Didn't you start a new job?
I did. Yeah, I've been at it about a month and a half. It's pretty good.
Okay. And what are you up to these days?
I'm building their design system.
Okay. Very cool. Nice. How's that going?
Pretty good. It's a lot of work, but it's I don't know. It's cool. It's everyone I'm working with is cool, so it makes it kind of like it doesn't really matter what I'm doing.
All right. Nice, nice. Well, cool. What's up, Erica?
Not much, just trying to wrap up things before the holiday.
Yeah. Sounds like a theme.
Right.
Yeah, I guess this is the first holiday, at least in the US, that we have since the majority of people have been vaccinated. So,
I know. I think it's been a little bit more normal. I had my first group outing this week. That was amazing. It was
nice.
so strange to sit at a table with 6 people.
Very cool. Nice, nice. Yeah, we're going to go camping up in the Eastern Sierras. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Woo.
Yeah, never been. I'm embarrassed to say, but never been to that part.
This weekend, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. It's just rain, rain, rain. So it's, I mean, I actually like it, but I definitely am glad I'm not camping.
What is this
Yeah.
thing called rain? I don't
Lots
understand.
of rain here in Wisconsin too. It's been pouring down.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so we have some more folks coming in. Cool, cool. So again, thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday morning, afternoon, evening. How's it going, Brent? Lindsay? Hey, hey. Welcome.
So, well, yeah, it's I don't usually go on these, but it's exciting to be here. So,
Aw, we're glad you're here.
yeah, thanks.
Nice. How's the Boston chapter these days?
Yeah, we're doing well. We had our event a couple of weeks ago. It was just a get to know each other kind of thing, and now we're planning our next event, which we did. Like we had a meeting this week, and stuff. So yeah, we it was a good time, and we look forward to making more events like that. So
Very cool.
it's definitely rewarding so far.
Nice, nice. Well, keep us posted.
Of course.
Yeah. How's it going, Lindsay?
Pretty good. Had a busy week. But we had our second Seattle chapter event this week too. We
Yeah,
had
how'd that go?
Jill McIntyre Witt from the party program came and did a little climate justice like mini workshop with us. So it was really good. Although we were sort of like last minute about like getting the calendar invite and stuff out, and she kind of like didn't reply on email. So like the night before we were like, we're not sure if our presenter's showing up tomorrow. So we just had a backup plan just in case. But then we like got it all sorted out in the morning before our event which was at noon, and it went really well. It was super nice. But we did have this moment of like, I don't know if our event's coming together or not. But
Yikes.
It all worked out.
So yeah, what did you all do? What was the kind of
so she
agenda?
did a similar like talk, just kind of like connecting the dots around climate justice. and giving a little bit of her background story. And then I had like loved when she sort of did the analysis of like beach cleanup posters and how you can be inclusive and kind of thoughtful in the way that you did those. So what we did is like, as we were doing the intro, we had everyone do like a really quick sketch of like a beach cleanup poster at the beginning. And then after we had to talk about climate justice, it was like, now come back and like revisit your poster idea. What can you change? What can you modify to be more inclusive, to focus more on climate justice in the way you communicate about it? So it was a little like hands-on activity. And then we got a little breakout group. So we got to like talk about what changes we made and, you know, things we learned. So it was nice.
Nice.
That's so cool. Yeah, she's great. She's just full of energy and go get 'em attitude, if that's even a thing.
Totally.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of updates on our end. We've had to actually postpone the new grad event that we've been promoting. We couldn't really nail down the speakers that we wanted to. We had a handful in mind, and it just didn't work with their schedule. And you know, in hindsight, it was a bit hard to promote since school has already ended. You know, there wasn't really an opportunity for educators to, you know, promote this in their class because there's no more classes right now. So, but you know, we hope to maybe do something similar in the future. Yeah, and then other than that, we're just about to launch a redesign homepage, which we feel will allow people to, how would you describe this, Sarah? Like maybe
Understand what
engage
we're
with
doing better and find their way around better.
Yeah, like we're providing them with a lot more doors for them to open depending on where they are in their climate journey, in their climate design journey. So we're just wrapping that up. And then actually a bit later this morning, Sarah and I have a call with some co-op experts to talk a bit more again about setting climate designers up as a co-op. So we're really excited to explore this as a business model. It seems like there's a lot of great possibilities with doing that. So stay tuned.
I don't really have any knowledge about co-ops or how they work. So what is that regarding? Like, what is that?
We don't really either. That's why we're meeting with some experts later today. But generally, I think, you know, when we look at the various kinds of business models out there, you know, we could be a nonprofit easily and spend all of our time trying to raise funds every year, which just seems like that's what nonprofits spend most of their time doing. You know, and maybe we get some good grants and some bankrollers to make it so that the team is actually getting paid instead of volunteer. The other option is to be a for-profit business, which would generally, you know, traditionally work to make Mark and me rich and everybody else get paid as little as possible so that, you know, we funnel all the money up to the top. I think that's kind of the traditional model, right?
Which is not
either.
what we want to do. Yeah.
we're not interested in that. So, you know, just looking around at other ideas, I think that there are a lot of people right now that we're seeing putting volunteer time and energy into the organization, and at the same time we have to, you know, pay our bills and stuff. So all of the people who put time and energy into the organization, if we can sort of work together to create something that supports all of us. And so that will be more of a collaborative effort where we all sort of figure out and decide together what Climate Designers is and what we do. And if we're successful, we all win. And if not, then we all iterate and pivot together, you know, because we're all part owners of the organization is generally the crux of it.
Gotcha.
So you don't have like one owner. You have kind of a steering committee, maybe a board. I mean, it sounds like there's just so many different ways that we could set it up, which is kind of what's a head scratcher about it right now. So we're trying to figure out, like what's the best way to do this. Speaking to some people who have a little bit more knowledge about it.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that exciting stuff. And then I don't think, what else is going on, Sarah? Anything else?
Oh, we just had our live
Right.
recording of the podcast on Tuesday, which was really cool. Had a good showing for that and a really engaged, deep discussion
Mhm.
about leadership in climate and design. So I'm still sort of diving into editing that and getting that podcast out so that everybody else who wasn't there can listen. We're also preparing for Mark and I teach a summer session at California College of the Arts, so we are preparing for our class to start. So that's the holdup there, but yeah, that's got my plate full.
Yeah. Yeah. And the live podcast recording was great. We had about 20 people show up, and Shauna and Brian, just as always, just dropped some crazy good knowledge uh, throughout the interview. And then what we did was we had a few minutes for Q&A from the audience. But, you know, it's an experiment doing this live interview thing for the podcast. This is our first time we've ever done it. So we would hope to do this again more and more. I think we're learning, you know, how to kind of tweak it to create a better experience for everyone. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And then speaking of, with that podcast, we've mentioned this in the recording as well as to the live audience. And I'll just kind of share it again with you all. We are very much interested in exploring creating something for the community centered around leadership within the climate space, design space. And so we created a landing page, climatedesigners.org/leadership, where it has just enough information for people to read about what it is that we're wanting to do with Shauna and Brian. And then there's a little email sign up box that says, you know, sign up if you want to get notified when we launch the program. So it's it's a way for us to kind of see, kind of, you know, put some feelers out there to see if our community is interested in this topic, to create something that we can, yeah, dive deeper into. So
Can you tell me a little bit about how you're defining leadership in that context?
Well,
The soft skills, right?
it's human skills. Yeah. And it's not just leadership in terms of you're already an existing leader, you're leading people. It's also just leadership amongst yourself too. It's a lot of self-reflection, a lot of inner work as well. So I think it's mostly leadership with a lowercase L, if that even makes sense. But the podcast, we talked about a ton of different things around self-awareness, developing empathy for the people that you work with, whether they're colleagues or the people that are at the other end of your design work. Just a ton of other things. I don't know, Sarah, I was a bit too busy concentrating on the show notes.
Specifically, I think the ability to persuade others and influence your, you know, teammates, your company, your clients, whoever you're working for, especially when we are trying to get them to change their practices, to adopt more sustainable practices or materials, when you're trying to influence what something is made out of, or how it's manufactured, or how it's disposed of, or you want to do something that's in the short term probably more expensive, but you need to make a case for how it will impact the business in the long term because it's more sustainable by definition. You know, all these things are important to the work that we're doing, and it's all under the umbrella of leadership.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what else is going on, y'all? Anything exciting this week?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I guess being in the process of trying to take over the New York City chapter with Jenna, another member. I'm a little bummed that Brent dropped off because I know he's another chapter lead, but I was wondering how you guys are going about engaging your local members. The New York City chapter has been quiet for some time, so the circle is also very quiet. And at the moment, I'm not really sure how to reach those members other than to post in the circle. But I'm wondering, Lindsay, if you've been doing something else, or if anybody has any suggestions for how I can engage with the members in New York City and also hopefully find some more.
Yeah, for
Uh,
Seattle, we're a brand new chapter, so it's like a different problem. We're more in like recruiting mode, and honestly, like we probably should be doing more to get engagement on the Mighty Network site. But I've also just like saved the emails from people who attended the event, so I have like a direct email capability to people who've attended before. And like for every event, we're trying to do a blast out. So I've got this like laundry list of our local AIGA chapter, our local IDSA chapter. There's like a Common Cause Collective, which is another like good impact design organization in Seattle. I've got like former colleagues from companies reaching out to Creative Mornings. So we're just trying to like get the word out. We've done like the local university design program. We've got a lot of attendees come in that way. So like you almost might want to treat it like a new chapter and just do a publicity blast that way. And maybe even people who were part of your chapter before might be like, hey, I was in there and come back. So
Yeah.
100% agree. Yeah.
Are you communicating primarily via email, or are you encouraging them to join the Mighty Network and then communicating there?
You're encouraging people to join the Mighty Network and also follow us on Instagram. And so whenever we have events, we'll post it on our Instagram as well.
Cool.
And then we had just had our second event. And so I like directly emailed from our past event attendees, like, hey, we have another event coming up. So they were like most likely people to decide to come to the second one. So I think leveraging that is critical too.
Yeah, and to underscore what Lindsay shared, to give you some context, so we shifted the whole chapter stuff maybe this time last year. I don't know, I can't remember. Where we wanted to create the chapter circles on Mighty and treat those chapter circles as like a mini network, so that when you're engaging with someone, Carly, in your case, someone in New York or the New York area, you can encourage them to go to your New York chapter circle and not the larger one, because once they're there, they're going to realize, wait, where am I? And then they're going to start to like see that this is a larger thing. And by doing that, you can then like, knowing that there's a place for new people outside of the online community to show up, you can then, what Lindsay was saying, like go where the conveners already are. So AIGA chapters, IDSA, schools, any and all kind of creative institution, like Creative Mornings has a New York chapter. So like just simply reach out and say, hey, you know, my name is Carly. I'm a New York chapter for this larger thing. You know, we would love to maybe even partner up. Like, can you have some sort of like networking mashup with Climate Designers New York and Creative Mornings New York or something, right? Like bridge these two communities together. And sure, maybe at the beginning, you might not be able to bring a whole lot of people from the Mighty Network, the Climate Designers New York side, but knowing that, I'm just continuing with the example of Creative Mornings, knowing that they have a community, you're gonna probably pique a lot of their members' interest in joining the New York chapter. And then I think another thing too, if you want, like we're happy to promote the New York chapter as like a, you know, hey, like a, you know, relaunch the New York chapter on the main social media account for Climate Designers too, to get a lot of eyeballs on it too. So, or put in the next newsletter. So yeah, let us know how we can support you in terms of getting more eyeballs.
Yeah, awesome. I think we're trying to nail down a first event right now. So once we have that figured out, that would be great.
Yeah, and I think maybe the first event, and I think Lindsay, with your Seattle chapter, you did a pretty good first, like big undertaking for the first event. But maybe if you want to keep it light, Carly, I think the Boston chapter, I think they just did a networking event, kind of like a fun get to know you event.
That's
Lindsay,
what I was thinking, like a meet and greet networking casual thing.
Yeah, but it might make sense, maybe Carly and Lindsay, if you want to connect, because I think Lindsay, you did a really great job of the first event doing that, but also with a bit more meat, to it.
Yeah, we're also considering, I started up an event series in my workplace. We call it Climate Happy Hour, where it's just like, let's grab a drink. I'm going to share like a handful of interesting kind of like news highlights from the climate space. And there's just like general like open conversation. But I think that could kind of transition to like get to know each other networking thing. But I sort of liked bringing like, here's some food for thought as an intro piece. And then you can move into like the unstructured conversation.
I love
So
that.
we're going to
Lindsay.
try climate
good
happy
idea.
hours for the Seattle chapter as well. And I can recycle the exact same deck I have for the work version.
Nice.
We can do for our local chapter too.
That's great.
But also, who doesn't want to attend a climate happy hour, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Isn't that how the San Francisco chapter kind of started out? Like when it was still in person, it was just
Oh, wow.
normal
Yeah,
happy
actually.
hours with people
We
at a
were,
bar.
To a bar.
Mhm. Imagine that.
Just when in doubt, introduce alcohol.
See how it works.
See how it works. Carly, feel free to reach out. Happy to support you. Let us know. We don't want you and Jenna to feel like you're all alone.
Thank you. Awesome.
Any other updates, questions, anything in the news?
Yeah, Big Oil had like the worst day ever this week, so that was rad. Like, I'm pretty stoked about that one.
Yeah.
I had a couple of awesome meetings at work this week. I think a couple weeks ago, I kind of shared how I had this like crisis moment on a project because I was like, part of what this is supporting is oil and gas, and I hate that. And I was thinking about quitting, and instead I got like this kind of new path to like drive sustainability on the project. Also, out of that conversation, like we have two company founders. I had a one-on-one, well, I guess like a small group conversation with them where I was like, here's my vision for what I think we should do about sustainability for our company. And like, here's what I want to do in my team and all this stuff. And here's what I think our company should do. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do all that, get it started. And they're like, oh, not just like our parent company, because they were acquired like 5 years ago by this company in India. It's like Zensar. There's like a holding group. They're like, no, the whole RPG group. So it's like this huge like Indian conglomerate. They're like, yeah, we'll just run a sustainability agenda for the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go. So it's kind of amazing. And then on the project itself, I've been doing stakeholder interviews to kind of like feel out where the opportunities are. And I had this amazing call with this really sweet guy who's based in Malaysia. So this is like Microsoft's sort of like global, like selling digital services kind of organization. And he asked me like, so where's this initiative coming from? And I was like, to be honest with you, it's coming from me because I care about this and I just try to bring it into every project. And he's like, that's rad, I'm in, like, let's try to start a pilot program. I was like, yes. So I have this really sweet ally in Malaysia now.
Nice.
So like, it's going to be slow, but even like, I feel like even just the influence of bringing this up and kind of like getting it on people's minds feels like a win. Like, even if it takes a few years for Microsoft to like really push sustainability in this line of business, it still feels like making some impact.
Yeah, it's huge.
Cool.
I always want people to know when they work for a big company, they might feel like a small cog in the wheel, but actually you have the power to make such huge impact in these companies.
Yeah, I've been feeling a little astonished at like the leverage point I may have like right in this project right now. So it's exciting.
Does Microsoft have like a CSO, like anything in the C level?
They have a whole sustainability team. And I was trying to get a connection through one of our biz dev people, and the person he knew in the team had left Microsoft. So I'm trying again. I've got a meeting next week. So I'm like talking to Microsoft sustainability group, setting up interviews with like the people using the tools that we're developing right now. But like Microsoft has huge sustainability equipment. They've got their whole like carbon negative by 2030 thing. They've got the like latest innovations in like energy efficient cooling of data centers and all this stuff. They have an underwater data center. It's also just like a really fun, like eye-catching, like eye candy kind of sustainability story.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know about Microsoft specifically, but I think sometimes big companies will have a Department of Sustainability and chief sustainability officers and all that stuff, and they sort of squirrel them away in a little corner and don't give them a whole lot of budget, but you know, they're there for the bullet point on the
yeah. And I think
right.
Microsoft does like a lot in sustainability, and they have like some companies they partnered with, but they haven't embedded it in this like huge chunk of the business they do. So that's sort of like the wall I'm trying to tear down, to be like, you should put this
Yeah.
in here. There's value for you. You could sell more stuff. It'll help your customers, like all the companies they're selling services to, like it'll help make it easier for them to put stuff in their sustainability report that all their investors want every year. Like there's opportunities for everybody. Someone just has to like do it.
Yeah.
I love that you're involved in that, because I actually have so I'm on our local leadership team for the US Green Building Council, and
Oh,
one
cool.
of my other members she got let go from her job during the pandemic and decided she would go off on her own and be a sustainability consultant for engineering and construction firms. And that's kind of the world that she and I both came from originally. So she's acting as, an external sustainability director for these companies, and she's doing all the reporting for them, and has reached out to me to work with several of these corporations who need help with all their design work and web design. And so it's just fun because, then I get to see the back end of them designing these like well certified buildings and LEED certified buildings, and how they work in urban areas. So I don't know, I just think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so powerful getting designers hyped up on doing this work, is because we're the ones in the mix, like in the muck of it.
Yeah.
Actually building the stuff and getting the stuff done, rather than being scrolled away in a sustainability office somewhere, if somebody maybe thinks to ask you a question, like you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, then having those designers be equipped with the right questions, bringing in certain frameworks and processes, like, just it's like kind of subliminal change making. I mean, you can raise your voice and cause a ruckus and put your fists on the table. Sounds like, Lindsay, you're doing that, but you're also at the same time or a designer at the same time can also just kind of silently kind of insert this stuff in there as well, and imagine a larger company and all the designers are all on the same page, right? And actually this is something that we mentioned this I think last week during the coffee break, but one of the offerings that we were wanting to do, and we got our first I don't want to say, I guess it's a client, but it's not a client, but I guess partner, is going into these large companies and doing trainings, whether they're in-house design teams or even a small design company and their designers, but going in and training them on how to become climate designers so that they can be equipped with, again, the right questions, processes, frameworks, things like that.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if I should
puppeteers pulling the strings.
Would you guys like to, I could try to see if my company could be another one of the like
yeah,
starter, like
definitely
first
Sure.
players for that.
We have a-
Since
we have a
I've got our
whole-
leadership on board. Like, let's do some stuff.
Yeah, we have a whole presentation that we can give to kind of like just kind of interest people, and then we have a 2-day workshop that we're putting together, a virtual obviously, and that'll be over the course of about a month or so. So the first workshop will be 1 day, and then we'll give everyone homework, and then we'll revisit in a month, and then have a recap with some other stuff as well. And so yeah, we have a whole plan, and we've been cooking up this for a while now, Lindsay. So yeah, definitely reach out.
Yeah, maybe we should set that up for my company. I think that'd be
great.
Like a good big visible step for everyone to be like, oh, stuff's happening for real.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, so it's top of the hour. Carly, thanks for joining.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, this is great.
Thanks for spending this time with us on a Friday.
Always
Definitely.
fun to join. I have like a daily meeting on my project right now, but I'm like, every other Friday I'm gonna skip that one, so I can at least come check in with you. But I'm like, I just skipped our scrum this week.
Nice. Hope you don't get in trouble.
I'll our PM is lovely. She'll be great.
Awesome. All right, everyone, take care.
Cool. Great to see you. Bye.
Thanks.